We're now at Berrington Hall, just outside of Leominster. You can kind of see the landscaping here is immaculate. This is just a mansion out in the countryside a little bit. And we have dueling videos going, competing for attention. Have a face-off. We had thought about getting a membership that this is a national trust, which is unfortunately different from the National Heritage Pass that Mark and Susan have. We were thinking that they'd get in for free, but it's a different program, so they had to pay for admission. We had thought about doing the National Trust because Brittany would get a discount as a youth, but unfortunately we don't think that we'll get out to see enough of the sites to make it worth it. So. Oh, in here. Not antique books or anything like that, they're just used. Are you mocking me for talking about the past thing?
Yeah. He kind of looks like a character, don't you think? Yes.
Brittany wants to know when I stop filming so that she can talk straight. Waiting outside for the tour to begin. What's going on, Brittany?
Stuff it.
She's coming to grab her camera.
Too much.
I keep teasing her about it, but I'm going to walk to the front of it. You got it?
Yeah.
I'm going to walk to the front of the house a little bit so you can see a little bit of the majesty of the property. Oh, they're done? Are they ready? Never mind. I guess we'll have to wait. You can kind of see that archway the front there where you pay for admission.
But what I'm going to do now is to tell you briefly what we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you on this below stairs tour at Berrington Hall. First of all, we'll go into the dairy. The use of this room might surprise you somewhat. And we'll look at the life of the dairymaid. From there, we'll go to the courtyard, where we'll talk about briefly about the architecture and how it's accommodated the work of the servants. Then on to the laundry, where as she's dressed by Rain Supreme, so better will behave yourselves. And learn about the life of the laundry girls. Then to the butler's pantry and butler's bedroom, finishing in the cellars, where you'll get to have a little bit of a glance at what the conditions were like for some of the kitchen staff. Well, to begin with, I'm going to give you a brief history. Apologies if you've been up in the house this morning and heard some of this before, but for those of you who haven't, Berrington Hall was built by a man named Thomas Harley. He was the third son of the 3rd Earl of Oxford, and as a third son, he was due to inherit very little. So he did something rather clever. What would you do if you didn't think you had much money? He married a very rich lady. Her name is Anne Mangum, and we know that she was local to here, that she was very beautiful, but that also Thomas Harley was very good at spending her money. First of all, he invested in the wine trade and did very well, and then, along with 2 other colleagues, set up a bank in London and started contracting with the government. From there, he went into politics, and then in 1767, in fact, became Lord Mayor of London. It was just about this time that he had run-ins with the radical John Wilkes, who many of you might have heard of. He was leading the Whig party, and sadly he rallied a mob against Harley 3 times, and on the 3rd occasion Thomas Harley was dragged from his carriage and injured. And this is why we believe here he might have thought to come out to Herefordshire to find a little more tranquillity away from London. We do know he was an MP for Herefordshire as well. And he came out here in 1775 and bought the estate from the de Cornwall family. Now there was a Tudor manor here on the estate at the time, but this was knocked down. It wasn't in keeping with Harley's vision. He then invited, I should say, Lancelot Capability Brown to redesign the parklands as you see them today. And Lancelot actually had a son-in-law by the name of Henry Holland, who was an up-and-coming architect at the time. And Harley employed Holland to redesign the house to the remit that the family would live in the life of luxury to which they were accustomed, but without sight nor sound of any of the servants. If you'd like to follow me, we'll now go into the dairy. You're right. Put yourself in the corner. Okay. There are a couple of chairs dotted around which you are welcome to use. One over here and one to the left over there. I don't think that was a very well posted picture. Honestly, please do come a little forward. I promise I won't bite you. You're also squashed up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, just first of all, I want to say that this room and the next 2 we're about to go into are all hands-on rooms, which means you are very welcome to touch, pick up, investigate any item that you're interested in. Please do feel free to do this. And likewise, there are chairs in these rooms which you can sit down on, no problem. Now, we've come forward in time a little in here, you might be able to tell from what I was talking about before. So when not Frederick Crawley, that's who we're coming to. The 7th Lord Rodney, who I mentioned, came back here, having inherited at the age of 7 in 1891, and sadly brought with him some gambling debts. And a few years later, he was forced to sell Berrington Hall due to his financial difficulties. And just at that time, a man named Frederick Crawley was on the lookout for such a home. And he came here in about 1900 and bought the estate. And the first thing he did was install electricity. We hadn't had that before then. Frederick Crawley was a great moderniser, and he also installed a series of wells and pumps to bring running water on tap to areas such as this and the kitchens. Now you'll notice on each basin we have 3 taps. One hot, one cold, and one for soft water. Frederick Crawley knew there was a need for soft water when rinsing fabrics. Obviously, there was very hard water around here, but also no vanilla fabric softener in those days. Being a cotton manufacturer, he knew that this was needed. So he took rainwater from the roof, where it was stored in butts, piped down into the cellars, and later on when we go down there, you'll be able to see the remnants of the soft water plant are still there today. I will just say, those of you at the back, halfway through, I'm going to be coming over there to show you some things, so please don't feel too left out at the moment.
Our tour of what life was like for some of the servants and maids. They were saying that a lot of the prized possessions would be, if they weren't up in the main living quarters of the family dwelling here, they would be down here with the butler, and they'd come down here for cleaning. The butler and some of the top servants would have some of the nicest living spaces.
Jeremy, we had that conversation.
Jeremy and Bernie are watching.
See Jeremy, right? His wife? Not his sister?
Yeah.
She was Jeremy herself. Doesn't have to wrap it up.
I'm Jenny.
There's more cabinets in the butler pantry than there are in the kitchen.
Sometimes they would even have the younger servants sleep on the floor here if they had something very expensive down here for washing and cleaning.
Goes right to here. That's where they said they wanted to water.
That's where they said little kids like to throw pebbles down there and things.
See, because it is. It's all.
Yeah.
What?
That was kind of interesting to learn how the servants could kind of make a side living off of selling the byproducts of working here.
Yeah. This is a good thing to move the laundry. Maybe it's not working.
I guess there were good reasons to turn your head and face the wall.
Hey, Brittany. Can we get a plant like that? That and ivy.
No. No ivy.
Why not?
Slippery slope. Yeah. We were not at the Walton household when ivy had to be cleared up. We did that about twice a year. According to our children, it's one of their biggest tasks.
I remember one time in my house growing up, I opened my closet and ivy had grown in through the house. Through the wall.
Just kind of stepping back so that we can capture a little bit of just how grand this place is. I'd have to go way out into the lawn and I don't want to ruin the grass, but every little inch here is decorated very ornately. If you see the carvings up there and on the ceiling above the door, the lamppost, which obviously would have been added in a little bit later. But
Take photographs, but no flash. Yes. And if you go into the dairy, before there, there's one of the red.
what's that?
It's very serious.
Down there.
Yes.
Good way to use it.
That's right. On your way around.
Oh, yeah, it looks okay in the video.
Painting.